All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 606 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. And today's going to be, it's just going to be a mellow episode. Not going to really go too far into what's actually the topic. Just try to keep it on the surface because it's not that dire as it looks. I mean, the title does look like I'm about to go at the wide receiver position, but it's not really what you think it is. We're going to discuss that and give my thoughts and opinions, and we're just going to go from there. If this is your first time here, welcome. I can be found on YouTube and Rumble. I'm also on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple, and Google Podcasts. And it's been a pretty good week, so far so good. I want to thank everybody who's been watching and supporting. If you don't mind, hit the like button and give me a 5-star rating on the Apple Podcast Avenue. I really, really appreciate it if you would do that. So we're going to get into this and whole situation with the Atlanta Falcons. A lot of people are, a lot of people are starting to come around to the Falcons. And I think they're starting to realize that the Falcons have a pretty stout defense. Talent-wise, it looks pretty good. The front seven is looking nice. You also have the whole situation with the secondary, and it's really looking pretty good. And I'm really impressed with what Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot has done. Now, when you want to contrast that, I don't think the offense is actually that bad either. The whole offensive line is back. Kyle Pitts is healthy again. You got an extra running back there with Bijan Robinson who could actually go out the backfield and catch passes. I think the problem is wide receiver. Don't get me wrong. I just got finished talking about Drake London, and I like what Mac Hollis is doing as being a leader. And Scotty Miller is coming along for the ride and going to be able to contribute as well. You got other guys like I think it's Justin Miller from Buffalo still on the team. Penny Hart is probably going to make the team. Penny Hart should be able to make the team easily. So we do have a fairly respectable wide receiver position. But if you look at all the positions that we have, from running back, line, offensive line, you can talk about defensive line, secondary, everything in between, even the tight end. I think wide receiver is probably our weakest issue. That probably is the biggest issue that we have. And now the other people probably sit and say, well, what about Desmond Ridder? He's unproven, probably more than the wide receivers. And that you can make a case for that. But I don't think he's an issue. I think he's the most inexperienced, but I don't think he's going to be the issue. I think the wide receiver position is not as dynamic. But don't get me wrong, the fact that Kyle Pitts and Bijan Robinson is going to be catching out the backfield is going to make Hollis, London, and Scotty Miller job much easier. It's not a knock on like saying that they're like necessarily the weakest link per se, but when you really put them up against everybody, it is probably the one that's most lacking. You could make the case for a quarterback, but I don't know. I think Desmond Ridder is a little bit better than people, is giving him credit for. I think he's going to shock a lot of people. Does he have to show and improve? Yes. And I think this is going to be more of a situation where Desmond Ridder is going to make Drake London and Scotty Miller and Mac Hollis look really good. He's going to make them look good compared to the other way around. Now, when you go to the tight ends, I think Kyle Pitts is going to make Desmond Ridder look good. Because, he's just that type of guy. And it's not a knock on Drake London because I think Drake London, he was drafted around the same time that Kyle Pitts was, just in a different year. I just something about Kyle Pitts, I think he's just more of an athletic monster. That dude's on another level. You were able to do what you did last year and the year before. And it was, pretty much he was on his way to be one of the top tight ends in the game. And he probably still will be that. When you look, I'm sorry, you'd probably still be in that. When you look at the running back situation, Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson, what more can you ask for? Cordell Patterson's going to be back there too. Obviously, that's not a weak link. The offensive line has come along very well, especially in the run game. Passing game is still okay. Like I said, the quarterback once again, I don't think is an issue. I think he's with him being out pretty much all year last year and learning the position helped, Desmond Ritter a lot. And I think you're going to see where he's going to be a very good complement, or he's going to elevate the game with the wide receivers. And like I said, I think the issue is at wide receiver because of the fact that you got three guys that are starting to learn each other. You have to have some chemistry on how to run routes and how to learn from one another. And you're probably, I mean, it'd be great if you get to see that like right away. But when you look at everything on right now, I think there's something about the wide receiver position that just is not a question mark, but I think this team is good enough to say everybody else is looking pretty good. The wide receiver position probably about be maybe a step or two, under the other ones. So you're probably like, is it really a big problem? No, I don't think it's a big problem. I don't think it's that big of an issue. But you're looking at a team that looks damn good so far. They look pretty good on paper. These guys should be able to make some things happen in this season. I'm looking at this schedule that they have, and the schedule is not hard at all. I mean, we talked about the schedule before. The first 3-4 games. I mean, they literally if this team plays the way that I think they could play, they could start the season 6, maybe 7-0, probably 8, maybe 9, probably 10. I'm dead serious, and I mean maybe we'll do another episode when we go down the line again. But there's no games that are gimmies. But when you look at the Panthers, the Packers with no Aaron Rodgers, the Lions are trying to come on and do some things. Playing in London against the Jaguars, Texans, Commanders, Buccaneers. You gotta understand, none of these teams really have a quarterback outside of Trevor Lawrence and maybe Kirk Cousins in week 9. Kyler Murray is not proven in week 10. They'll be too far along in the season. He may not even be the type of player he needs to be. So we should be in a good position. I'll just step back and say at least the first 5 games, I could see us being 4-1. But the main thing about it is, the wide receivers is just going to have to be getting open, and that does help. That is a part of Desmond Ritter's job. You might want to try to get these guys open, throw them open, put them in spaces where only they can catch the ball. Excuse me, sorry about that. So it kind of goes like hand in hand. Quarterback is just going to have to, put himself in position to do some things to make these receivers look good. So I don't have anything else to talk about on that end, but I just feel that we're really in a good space at the end of the day. And we're talking about the receivers possibly being an issue, and you got Drake London, Scotty Miller, and Mac Hollins, and we just got finished talking about what they're capable of doing as far as being a cohesive unit and the leadership of this unit. I don't think we're having a good problem. We have a real good problem. That now, full disclosure, at some point, some players are going to get cut. I just don't see it from the wide receiver position, but we're going to see a lot of fan favorites. Probably a few fan favorites probably might not make the team. I mean, that's just my gut feeling and my prediction. We may end up losing a couple guys that we may really like. But that doesn't take anything away from the defense. I think the defense is going to be okay. I mean, you got leadership, like you got Calais Campbell and Grady Jarrett together. They're going to be mentoring guys like Arnold Ebiketie, and Zach Harrison. I think it's Zach Harrison. Yeah. We're going to be all right. You know what I'm saying? I think this coach got us in the right direction. And that doesn't mean, and with that being, that doesn't mean that the wide receivers ain't going to be able to step up. It's just right now, wide receivers is like the issue. Like, I know in this episode, a lot of people are probably going to be saying Desmond Ridder. But like I said, that dude's been in the book since day one as far as how to be a quarterback for this team. He stepped this game up as far as trying to beef up to play the position. And the team has said nothing but good praises about him. Now, that's not to say that the team hasn't said, good praise about the receivers. It's just that you know what you have compared to everybody else on the team. It just seemed like that's maybe the weakest link. It may be. You guys let me know what you guys think. If you like this commentary, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let me know what you guys think about this. Am I tripping once again? I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to wide receivers. I mean, what am I doing? Am I just sitting here just talking noise, or do you guys really believe what I'm saying? Y'all let me know. I could be found on YouTube and Rumble, also on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple, Google Podcasts. Check out me on Twitter at VFBaller. Also, the website, firstandframerates.com. Go over there, check it out if you don't mind. See what you like over there. Subscribe to the podcast and or support the podcast. I really appreciate it. All right, y'all, I'm going to get up out of here. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Thursday. I will see you guys on Friday evening. Y'all take it easy and y'all be blessed. Peace.